shit.
Pat.
That listen, even if Patrick Beverly's your teammate, I know you had to like him a little more. He's hard to like, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was rough last night.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can.
Oh yeah, today is Tony
can?
Finn's birthday. I hear it.
Sounds like the Beatles to me.
It is.
Sounds like it's your birthday,
And we're live.
and we're live. Well, it's my birthday, and let me go ahead and do a shameless plug. It's Tony Finn's birthday, and I have a GoFund page for my birthday party, and we're only short about $10,000 for the party. So if we could get a few, handouts, we'd appreciate it.
Oh, I love that.
Happy birthday, Tony Finn.
Yeah, it won't be happy until I get the other $10,000.
Yeah, that GoFundMe page is raking it in right now.
I got a 404 error code when I tried to pull it up.
Oh, well then, let me send you the 1099 page.
Well, it had a picture of the Treasury icon on it.
Yes. They confident.
I didn't know what that meant.
They have commandeered my .com, GoFund at TonyFinn.com. They've commandeered the page, the web, the URL, and as soon as they hit the wrong button on there, where it gives me access to the financial district there in Washington D.C. and the Treasury Department, I'll get my $10,000.
Well, happy birthday again, Tony Finn.
Thank you. Tomorrow will be my birthday again. By the way,
It was somebody else's birthday, too, but maybe by the end of the show I'll remember who it was.
my wife of
No, I think it was a guy.
no, well, no, it was my wife.
Well, anyway,
It was
you were telling a story.
Yeah, my wife doesn't have a birthday. She has a birth month. So every day of that month is it's my birthday month.
Wow.
So, yeah. And no screwing around, Why have a birthday when you can have a birth month?
Well, you allowed that to happen somehow.
Well, I was young. And I was, I hesitate to confess it completely, but, I was young and I was horny. So I let shit go.
And you were in college and you're not proud of it.
I wasn't in college in this one. Well, I was well beyond. Well, no, it's close though. I'm one of those guys that was if they still permitted it, and the girls liked 61-year-old men, I might still be in college, still deferring all of my college loans because I have been in college for that would be about 43 years. Wouldn't that be something? I was about 30 and I was in engineering school. I was an Arch-E, and one of the girls in the class, one of the girls, I don't know, she was a pretty girl. I don't know her name, don't even know her. She said something to her girl next to her, said, "Man, who's that old guy in the class here?" And when I heard that, and I'm only 29 or 30, I said, this may not be a good idea after all to be in school for the rest of my life. So here we are. I'm in school with Rob Veno and John Vegas Ryan.
If you want to feel old, I'm just looking up these famous birthdays for today. The guy from
Michael
MASH,
Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, those guys.
Jamie Farr from MASH is 87 years old today.
Well,
Jesus.
listen, is Jamie still with us?
It says he is turned 87 today.
You know what? That Korean Air, was it Korea? Was that a Korean War that they were involved in? Man,
Yes.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Korean War.
Yeah, the Korean Air must be special. 87 is pretty good.
It is.
Dan Aykroyd 69 today.
Dan Aykroyd is 69. Well, Dan, like myself, never cussed, never drank, never did any drugs. Belushi was always the culprit, always the evil one. And Dan's an innocent guy. That's why he's 69. He's made it this long. I always tell people, they don't tell me I don't look like I'm 61. And I say, well, I don't. I prefer you tell me I didn't act like I was 61. And they say that too. And I say, that's because I effing never drank. I never, damn it, I never cuss. And, I never drink as I take a drink out of my drink. I don't smoke as I light a cigarette, and I never, and I'm still eligible to be a priest because I'm virgin.
Let's not stretch it here.
Okay.
There's attainable dreams, and then there's ones that just are probably not worth going after.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's awful funny that you would say that being a priest would be anyone's dream, but at least the headlines and the press that Catholic priests get nowadays. I'm not certain that that's something that you would aspire to. Not simply for the reason of being a priest. Obviously, service to God would be your. And who cares what people say about you, right?
Especially in our area. Yikes!
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, especially in our area. Yeah.
Beaten up a little bit here with the
Are they?
archdiocese.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. It's
But
that's
speaking
another.
of priests, real quick, Pamela Anderson is 54 today. So,
And speaking of priests,
She's a priest?
well, you wouldn't want to be one.
Pamela Anderson's a priest?
Isn't
Yeah,
it
they're
Priest
called-
Holmes'
they're called
birthday
nuns.
today? It's
They're
Priest
called
Holmes'
nuns.
birthday.
Priest Holmes.
I didn't know that.
Priest
I don't
Holmes.
know if it's Priest Holmes' birthday.
How old is
but I thought
Pamela
that-
Anderson?
54.
That's it? 54?
Well, I guess when you get operations to improve your looks, your age goes backwards a little bit. It could be. I don't know.
That would be.
Doesn't plastic surgery make you younger?
It does seem young.
Or bigger?
I would have thought she was older than that. Been
Yeah.
around longer than that for sure.
Do you guys remember that movie Barbed Wire?
No.
Oh, come on.
Well,
We remember
yeah,
Baywatch, though.
I
We
don't
remember Baywatch.
Baywatch?
I was a lifeguard too. We didn't run on the beach like that. It was
Yeah,
a
they
little more urgent, a little bit more urgent.
What do you mean?
We're running faster and a little bit more form.
I thought it was. I didn't think it was that it was the. What was you saying? What did you say, Pamela Anderson? How come she was aging backwards? Why was it?
Operations, plastic surgery.
Oh,
I'm just
well, I
assuming.
thought it was only Brad Pitt, and
What's that other crap? Botox, Biluxy,
Benjamin
yeah.
Button.
Yeah. You can
Last
tell
name
I don't
Button.
use it.
Botox?
Yeah. Why
Well, I
would
don't use it.
Botox?
I don't use it on anything above my waist.
Above the waist.
Reshape that area below the waist.
Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it.
Oh boy. Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
I don't.
I don't know. How did we get here?
Botox below the waist.
Well, there was a game yesterday, and it
Yes.
gave me the passion and desire to put up a entertaining tweet, which I'm looking at on my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes like this: hashtag everybody in. In case you didn't know, that's the Chicago Cubs.
There once was a man named John from. Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
Nope. The hashtag everybody in Cubs scores 7 in the first, and then yield. I used to play word yield. 15 consecutive runs to the hashtag this is my crew, and you might guess that that's the hashtag for the Milwaukee Brewers. Rhymes with crew, get it? Wednesday. Since 2004, which hashtag Major League Baseball team has had the most games with a 7-run or more lead and lost the game? The answer at 4 Eastern Time at Manny's Irish Pub. I apologize for the lateness, but we were talking about beauty remedies to reduce aging.
Beauty of the priest.
You have a choice of the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, here's the survey. Toronto Blue Jays, 32% people took them. And then Detroit, hashtag Motor On, 9.1%. Texas, hashtag Together We, 27.3%. And the last choice was the Tampa Bay Rays, and that is hashtag Rays Up. And that was tied with Toronto at 32%. So it was 32% for both of those. Texas 27, Detroit 9. So which of those 4 do you guys think is the correct answer. And Tony, you can't cheat like this and type it into Google.
I'm not. I'm just messing.
Everybody in the chat room knows you're cheating right now because they can hear it.
No, I already guessed. I said Boston Red Sox, but obviously I'm wrong because it's not one of the
not
answers.
on the list, though.
Yeah. Well, I didn't look. I don't look at it. Multiple choice. Those are all tricks. If you get a multiple choice test, they trick you. It's all tricks. It's tricks. It's they make you look at the it's tricks.
The people
I'll
who
tell you all
answered
about
the
it someday.
survey probably looked it up. So,
some of them did.
So
You gonna guess, Rob?
There's two with 32% there. I heard the Toronto and Tampa Bay. Texas was low at 9, so that's probably
Texas was 27. Detroit was low at 9.
Okay, so Detroit's probably not the answer because most people probably looked this up. So I'm going to go with one of the 32s. I'll say it was Toronto.
And it's Tampa Bay.
There you go.
And you know what? The process that, Tony, this is your word of the day. The process that Rob Veno just did when faced with 4 choices and narrowing it down like you would do when you took the SAT test is called deductive reasoning.
Did I tell you the story about my SAT test?
No.
Deductive reasoning.
Did you use that on yours, Tone?
You eliminate the choices that are clearly wrong.
Stop. John he said SAT test like he knows what I did on my SAT test.
Well,
do you know, John?
I hope you
Because if
didn't
you
cheat.
do, I'm worried about you.
You didn't
No, I
cheat,
didn't cheat. I didn't
All
cheat.
right.
No, I didn't cheat. No, it was multiple choice.
You didn't make a big donation to the school, did you?
No, I just I did the math section, which I knew I was capable of doing. The rest of it, I just guessed. And multiple choice. And let me tell you, I finished in the 70th percentile.
You probably
The
finished
math
first
helped.
in the classroom, too.
Well, what classroom? Oh, in math?
Well,
No,
if you just guessed, no, in the verbal part, if you just guessed, you had to be the first one done.
Well, no, I read something before I took the test that said if you're going to go take your SAT and you don't know the answer to something, then this is the most likely scenario of of the multiple choices. So I read that, and what they should have said in there. And if you're not planning on even trying, and you need to just to guess, here's what you do. But I did okay. I did all right. I was hungover or something.
I think you might not have been on the show, but I told Rob this, and then we'll move on to the NBA.
Okay. SAT.
But remember the achievement test? You could take 3 in one day. It could be math, history, U.S. history, but it was subject specific. So you had to take a total of, I guess you had to submit 7 of your best. So as I told you, I had 5 years of Latin. So I did that one. The last day of tests, I took math level 1, and then a buddy of mine and myself, since you had to pay for 3, we took the Russian achievement. Knew not a word of Russian. And I came up with a creative way of making Christmas trees on the bubbles, just filling them out, making the card look like Christmas trees. I scored higher on that than the German, which I also had 3 or 4 years of German.
Well, I'm sure your
Sprechen Sie
German
Deutsch.
teacher is listening to you right now thinking, well, I did a good job.
She might not be into sports betting.
That's true. But she is in John Vegas Ryan.
By the way, if I drop off, I hope you guys stay on because it's starting to bang around here pretty good. We have a pretty big thunderstorm front coming through, but never fear. It's always safe to have an electronic device on your head during an electronic during a thunderstorm, especially a severe one.
Go ahead and put the antennas up, too, while you're at it, of that electrical. Yeah.
You know what Lee Trevino said? This guy,
Yes, I know.
He got hit 3 times by lightning on a golf course.
Yes.
So you know what he said in Kidding Around? He says the best thing to do is to hold up a 1-iron during a thunderstorm because even God cannot hit a 1-iron.
That's funny. That's good stuff. I always like the one about what doesn't last long. Pros that putt for pars, dogs that chase cars, stuff like that. He was kind of had that Yogi Berra sense of humor.
What was the first one?
Things that don't last long in life. Pros that putt for pars and dogs that chase cars. The dogs chase cars, pros that putt for pars. Yeah, true.
I don't get the second one, to tell you the truth. The dog's chasing a car, it won't get injured.
What things don't last long in life? Dogs that chase cars and pros that puff for pars.
Yeah, but if
you
he's
know, you have
behind
to.
the car chasing it, he's not going to get hurt.
Oh, they don't. They don't. Listen, that's not how dogs chase cars. You not have a dog? I mean, I've been all. You guys live
he
in the
listens
city,
to me.
though. Oh, he listens to you.
Manny
Wow.
listens to me.
My dog listens to me. Yeah, he looks at me and says, "Who the f are you? I'm doing whatever the hell I want." That's what he
Fix that
lives.
damn dishwasher.
Yeah.
I should show you a picture of my poor guy. Last couple of days have been brutal. And Rob has a lab too.
Yeah, they don't like this humidity and heat.
No.
Not at all.
Well, yeah, my dog likes humidity. I don't have any here.
So since 2014, the Rays 0-7 in that situation. Of course, there's not going to be any wins, but they have had leads of 7 or more runs and lost, which really irritates their fans and the people who bet on them.
Well, it irritates
Reds-
pitching coaches. That's for damn certain. Go ahead.
The Reds did it 5 times. Well, the Reds, Tigers, Indians, Blue Jays, Braves, Mariners all did it 5 times. The Rangers did it 4. And then there's 4 teams that did it 3 times. Do you think there's a team that has never done it since 2014? Or
Ever blown a
2004?
7-run lead?
Yeah, are there any teams that have never done that since 2004?
2014. Oh, there's got to be somebody who didn't blow a 7-run lead. I'd say yes, there's at least one team.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9 teams that have done it once. Nobody has never done it.
Wow.
Those teams that have suffered that fate one time, not surprisingly to me at least, the Athletics, Royals, Giants, Mets, Cardinals, Pirates. Now that's a shocker. White Sox, Padres, Cubs, and 76ers. It's amazing, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
the Pirates were probably never up by 7 runs to blow a 7-run lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one time. They were up one time.
One time.
I can even tell you the game. June 2nd, 2011, they were away at Shea Stadium.
2011.
Paul Mahomes was pitching for the Pirates in that game.
But Mahomes?
Mike- No,
Mahomes?
no S, no S. But he was a lefty.
Mahomes?
That little lefty.
Yep.
I remember him.
And then you guys will remember this guy too, the Mets, Mike Pelfrey.
Yeah.
Pelfrey?
Yep,
Listen,
Pelfrey.
fade Pelfrey every chance I got. Way overpriced. Way overpriced, Pelfrey. Good stuff. I like that.
They were up. They were up 3-0, 6-0, 7-0, 7-3, 7-7, 7-9, 8-9, and they lost 9-8. And in that game, the Mets were a -134 favorite. The total was 7.5. And needless to say, all these games go over. So if you could predict a team that goes up by
Really?
7 runs, and they're going to, yeah,
You know what? A team was up 7 runs and ended up losing, and the game went over.
Isn't that something?
That's a baffle. That baffles me.
Oh, it did me too. I had to check the data.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
But anyway, that's a little bit of fun I had there. And
Was Mike Pelfrey and David Cohn ever teammates?
they had to be.
I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know.
Wasn't David Cohn out of baseball by then? He's been a Yankee broadcaster.
2011?
for ages.
I'm sure David Cohn probably was out of business
How about
by
the
then.
offense we saw yesterday? 15 teams score 6 runs or more.
Yeah, let's.
Spin
Yeah,
rates
I
out
was
the
on.
window.
I was on a couple unders yesterday.
20-2,
That one. I was on the under in that one.
15-7.
But
20
I want to make a suggestion. Nobody will listen to me, but I don't like the idea of foreign substance. It sounds like it comes from Europe. A foreign
Well,
substance.
then that's what
I mean,
I've been writing about it. I don't use foreign substance. I say substance abuse.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tell him what you said on NBA Tip-Off, Tone.
What did I say? Which one? Well, I say something profound. I did. I'm sure I said something profound. I think I might have given out a free pick, a free prop. Oh no, I are you talking about the wake up call?
The wake-up call.
Yeah, listen, if you're gonna have a wake-up call with me, it takes artificial insemination. It takes more than a compliment, a cup of coffee, a love tap, or even a compliment that, wow, Tony, good time last night. It takes more than that.
Yeah,
Get me excited enough.
That's right.
Let's get down.
That's right.
So,
Want me to wake up? Let's go.
All right, let's talk about the NBA game then.
we were. That was part of the NBA. That was part of the NBA tip-off show.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, that game last night was
really not a whole lot to talk about, is there? Because anybody can.
We really don't have to talk about it. I mean, I don't see how the heck Milwaukee's favored in this game. Giannis is not playing. I don't understand.
Well,
I think it should be pick. And I think Atlanta's going to win. I mean,
well, what's it telling you? If Milwaukee's favored right now, and it is approximately 5 o'clock Eastern, and they're still favored, what's it tell you?
It's telling me Milwaukee. That's why I'm not betting the game.
Well, no, it's not telling me that, but it's telling me that
Trae Young's not playing.
Yeah, right. Did you hear him? Did you the last show that we did together? Of course, I was missed yesterday because I was supposed to miss today too. I'm supposed to be doing this long list of to-dos. And this was, it's holiday weekend. We got guests coming, right? To the point. 2 days ago, I told my buddy when he told me about Trae Young's injury. Remember? And he said it's more serious than. He said I don't think he's going to play. Remember, I told you that 2 days ago on the show.
You did.
Which came to fruition, didn't it? But then I asked him. I said, "What is it you're smoking?" So I can come jump on a plane and join you, because he asked me, "You think Atlanta can win without Trae Young?" And I thought he was crazy to even ask a question. Wow, it wasn't even close. What? That's what you get with Coach Bud. That's what you get with the Milwaukee Bucks. That is what you've gotten. You've received your reward in life as a Milwaukee Bucks in the last 3 years.
Yeah, they came out and fooled around. I mean, Giannis is out there shooting jumpers the whole first half instead of just.
God, he reminds me. He reminds me so much. This reminds me so much of Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia Sixers, and who they are.
Bad.
Yes.
I mean, they
come out, they screw around. We're better. You're right, Rob. We're better. We'll screw around. We'll play around with you guys. We'll dribble behind our back. We'll take a cigarette break, and then we'll come back and we'll beat you. Well, unattractive.
It's on the coach. You're absolutely right, Tone. When the team's out there horsing around, not doing anything that's gotten them to where they are right now, let's just do the total opposite for a while and score 38 points in the first half. And
how did Coach Bud ever mentor under Coach Pop?
Not every limb is a good one coming off a good trunk.
What?
Well, the tree, the coaching tree.
I got you. I get it. That's kind of like the. I get it. That was you were being funny. It's kind of like your math joke with the over and the 7-run thing. I get it. I finally get it.
Has he produced?
That was
good. Coaches?
What's that?
Has he
Popovich?
Really produced? I'm trying to think of how many.
Becky. She's perfect. Had never lost an NBA game as a head coach.
Well, that's true. I mean, I think James Borrego at Charlotte, I think is a Popovich disciple. But I'm trying to think of ones that actually won something. I'm trying. I mean, Steve Kerr, I guess, right? Didn't Steve Kerr coach at San Antonio under Popovich?
Yes, he did. He did for a very short period of time. I think 1 or 2 years. But then, Steve Kerr is, every. There's been a lot of coaches. Larry Brown tree is a pretty good tree too, but for the most part, it's been Larry Brown.
In college, it's good for NCAA restrictions.
Look at Roy Williams.
I think Penny Hardaway just signed him to the staff at Memphis. I think Larry Brown's back.
Well, what's he doing? Recruiting?
That's right. They're going to be on probation within 10 minutes, I think, with those two guys.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Larry Brown.
Good coach.
What was I going to say now? The guy that the Lakers got got that guy as an assistant.
That guy, like that
Yesterday,
girl.
Dave Fizdale.
Yeah. Is he? Is that a good
Fizdale?
fit?
Fizdale's been a head coach. He's been a head coach.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't place him, and I didn't bother to Google it or
Fizdale's
anything
been
like
around.
that,
He's traveled. He's well traveled. Fizdale is.
Yeah, he had Memphis going the right way. I think that.
Yeah.
Well, he had the Knicks too, right? Dave Fizdale had a little stint with the Knicks most recently.
I mean, I really like his name. The name is a great name, Fizdale. You know, but I won't
Rhymes
get
with
us off
Wayman
track.
Tisdale.
I will not get us off track with that name. But
All right, so last night was easy, right? We knew that if Zubats wasn't going to play, everybody could score.
Yeah, I thought last night was a really good. Just my takeaway. I didn't get to talk about that on the NBA Today show or the tip-off show, and that was that in my write-up, I actually had the Suns yesterday and had the over 29.5 with Ayton. Which you had the time before, right? Yeah. Well, they really in that game 5, guys, was one of the most embarrassing displays, and I think that the coaching staff was embarrassed too as well because they had every advantage. I mean, when you don't get the ball to Ayton, when the switch goes to either when basically Patrick Beverly has Ayton or there was I think 20 occasions where the pick and roll switched to somebody that Ayton had 6 inches or more on, and they went to him one time. They just didn't. I mean, that whole game 5 was a fadeaway jumper by Chris Paul trying to shoot over Morris. Remember the whole game?
Yeah, we talked
It was really
about
poorly planned, huh? What's that?
We talked about a little bit about it here yesterday too, Tone. I went back and watched. Some guy had film breakdown, and I went back and watched, and they showed other times just to show the lack of cohesion between the two guards and Ayton in that game. Right? We're talking about Booker, Paul especially because he's got the ball most of the time. But they showed some other times where the lane was wide open for Ayton to cut right down, and Paul would drive and wait for the cut, and Ayton would still be standing there. He just didn't realize he had an open lane. The whole thing was off between those guys. And when, like you're saying, it should have been such an easy advantage for them without Zubats in the middle. But they fixed it up yesterday. They
did. And part of what they fixed up, to your point, Rob, is that they didn't make switch. Well, they weren't going. They weren't switching with Morris because Morris would get Booker in that game 5, and it was over. He had a 15-foot uncontested jumper with that matchup. It was and that's just something that can't happen. The coaches can't let that happen. It happened numerous times. I don't know how many points Booker had or Morris had in that game 5, but I'm guessing pretty close to 30. Everything I saw.
He was hitting everything. Yep. How great was it last night? I think that there was a switch last night, real quick, and I'm getting off the subject here, but there was a switch last night where Chris Paul drew DeMarcus Cousins and then backed up 4 steps outside and made sure he had one-on-one with the lane, and he made him look silly. And then Cousins, Chris Paul got a technical out of it, right? Because he didn't really elbow him, but Paul certainly acted like he just got nailed with a left cross.
Should be a soccer player, Chris Paul.
But
probably could be one.
Well, he flops better, and that's where when Patrick Beverly starts making fun of Chris Paul because of his flops, that's spot on because he's it's almost like he's doing an Allstate commercial or something when he takes a hit and takes a fall.
He'll do anything to win. Hey, John, how about we had Jay Crowder prop yesterday, too? Jay Crowder was over 9.5 points in about the first quarter yesterday. Yeah. He showed up. One of the vets on that team. There's been a lot of talk. Tone, I think you mentioned this, too, on the show we just did, that a lot of people were dismissing Phoenix because they didn't have a lot of playoff experience. But Jay Crowder was one of those guys with Miami last year that had been in these situations. Hadn't really shown up yet. But last night he showed up, made his shots, did his part. So
I will say this: it's irrelevant right now. It's irrelevant if you work the maze without having to cut your way through part of the brush and you made your way to the NBA Finals as the West rep, then guess what the prize is? The prize is you get to face somebody from the East. Holy crap!
Let's
and that's
pat
a prize.
ourselves. Let's collectively pat ourselves on the back real quick here, because before these playoffs started,
Yeah.
I remember doing the show where we said Phoenix was going to be a tough out because they protect the basketball. Last night, I think they only had 7 turnovers again.
Yep.
When Chris Paul is right, they don't turn it over, and they've been the beneficiary of some major injuries along the way. Right? They're down to Los Angeles 2-1. Most people think LA's on their way because Paul's shoulder was hurt, and then Anthony Davis goes down, Phoenix advances. Then they get to Denver, and your starting backcourt is Austin Rivers, who wasn't even in the NBA 2 months prior, and Campazzo, and they wipe them out. And then they get this series against the Clippers where Kawhi goes down. The detractors are going to point that out. They're going to say, well, they didn't play anybody. And if God forbid they get Milwaukee without Giannis, Giannis is unable to come back, then you're going to hear that all day long. But still, they're the type of team that's not going to kill themselves. They're going to play hard, and they're not going to give you extra chances. And that's, in the playoffs.
And guess what? Guess what? Unless this series ends soon or than later, once again, Phoenix has showed already that it knows how to handle layoffs and rest. And that they, let's put it this way, they're going to be fresh and healthy. Whoever they're playing, they're going to be fresh, and they're going to be whole. They're going to be whole. I was worried about campaign, but he looked pretty quick. A couple times made George look slow last night.
Yeah, no, they got the UNC kid. Goodness gracious, didn't play last night. The shooter they drafted in the first round. I'm missing his name now. But he didn't play for Phoenix last night, but there's plenty of time for him to heal up, so they'll have the whole roster ready to roll.
They got Javon Carter. Got to remember that. They got Javon Carter.
Yeah, West Virginia, Javon Carter. How come I can't I got to go to my freaking box score now.
Who are you trying to think of? Oh, you're trying to think of...
I'm trying to think of Cam Johnson.
Okay, Cam played. Cam Johnson, here's the deal with Cam Johnson. I trust Cam Johnson at this point in his career. I trust Rob. I will put you in the game before I put Cam Johnson in the game. I'm sorry.
He had some moments in that series.
Everybody has a 15-minute moment. It's just a matter of how many. If you have more 15-minute moments that are positive, as opposed to those who are negative, So, Cam Johnson's not much of a defender. He's not ready to defend. He's not ready to play defense. That's for certain.
Well, not that Roy taught a lot of that at UNC.
No, anyway. You're right. Not at UNC. No.
But in a long series, if these role players have a couple of games where they're, exceeding what's expected of or exceeding what their average is, then that's a pretty good deal.
And I have one question, and I promise not to get off track for at least another 5 minutes. But when was the last time John? I have John, the data man, the numbers man. When was the last time? And I'm guessing here. I know this. Well, how many free throw attempts did LA take yesterday? Was it like 35 or something ridiculous?
Well, I can tell you this, and I'll get rid of this query because that's what I was doing. I did the assist-to-turnover ratio for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Took 32,
the Suns have 391 assists, Clippers 395, but the Clippers played three more games, I believe.
Yeah, 19, yep.
So 2.22 assist-to-turnover ratio for the Suns is number one. The Nuggets and Spurs are actually higher, but they don't qualify.
Right.
Then you go Pacers, Nets at 2.10, Sixers 2.03, Grizz, Mavericks, and then everybody else is below 2. So,
yeah, I mean, how many games
where is
of,
the
John?
Bucks?
My question.
The Bucks are terrible. The Milwaukee Bucks are horrible. 1.75.
Yeah, that.
But they have the most steals by far, 110. The Sixers had 96. Clippers again because they played more games, 129, but the Suns have 100.
Well, my question, I was just trying to. I found the that dichotomy of the difference in that the box in the game last night when I glanced at the box score this morning again for the second time. That Craig was a plus 28 in that game for the Suns. Yeah, and the fact that the Clippers went to the free throw line 32 times. When was the last time a team that hit almost 80% from the free throw line, almost 78.1 or something like that it was, and made 25 or more free throws, lost a game? Lost that game.
Yeah, and they had eight.
I can
Not
take it
and
in.
not just lost it, but lost it by 27 points.
Yeah, I mean, the other team only went to the line 11 times. And
I know.
think The Clippers didn't even get whistled for a foul until the middle of the second quarter. Was their very
That's
first
well,
foul.
absolutely no. They got called for one foul late in the first quarter. Late one.
That was it.
Now maybe I'm wrong. I thought that's what I remember seeing, but maybe I'm
So
wrong.
it
I
was,
remember them saying that's the first foul. You know.
Yeah, it was crazy. The foul line difference, you're right, it was plus 21 attempts-wise for Clippers. But the field goals made were huge in Phoenix's favor, too.
They only committed 11 fouls, the Clippers. See, if you tell me there'll be somebody out there that will say, but Tony, they didn't get called for any fouls because they played technically good sound defense and they don't make fouls. And I would say, bullshit.
Yeah.
Teams, listen, good defensive teams, they commit hard fouls, aggressive, hard-nosed fouls until you get to the bonus. Then they play a little smarter. And it happens in college basketball. All West Virginia and Bobby Huggins are absolutely they do that. I mean, they're famous for it. They will beat the hell out of you for 6 fouls and they make you take a step back a little bit sometimes. But he coaches that, teaches that. But if you only commit 11 fouls, you're not playing defense in the NBA.
Especially the other team made 53 shots from the field.
Yes,
53 shots from the field, so you're not playing any defense at
None.
all. I mean, the Clippers made 33. Phoenix made 53, plus 20 field goals.
Yep.
That's a big difference.
A lot of those obviously came. There are 32 attempts at the line. I mean, that's equivalent. 25 made. Let's just call that's 12 buckets. Really, that's the difference. But they win by 27. Suns. They win by 27 in a game that somebody. There was a lot of guys who came to me and said, "Listen, I really thought they had the Clippers last night," and they said, "In the third quarter, they felt like they had a chance." I never felt like they had a chance. But that's just me.
I'm figuring this out for you, Tony. I'm putting a couple things together.
Okay.
All right, so I'll do two of these. This is a double-digit loser in the playoffs. Had 30 or more free throw attempts, had more free throw attempts than the opponent, lost, double-digit loss. There's been 35 such occasions.
How many games in total, though? At 35 and how many?
35 games since 2000.
How many playoffs games would that be? That would be quite a few.
22.
No, in total, how many playoff? You said there's 35 occasions.
Right.
Oh, so you went into how many playoff games there were?
Yeah, total playoff games. That gives me.
Yeah, it's a
All right,
very small percentage, right, Tone, of the total
Right.
playoff games. 35 out of the total.
Let me give you
Doesn't happen often.
There's been 9 games where that scenario has happened, and it's been a 20-point loss in the playoffs.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And playoff games since over the last 22 seasons, 1,589.
9 times out of 1,589.
So
Doesn't happen very often.
and 35. I'm going to get the little calculator out here for this one. I can't do this in my head.
It's just that's something that you should be able to, as somebody who's a handicapper, should look at that and at least have. They shouldn't be completely baffled. They should say, "Has this happened? It happens." And I think Rob and I, that would be my opinion, is that they didn't play any defense, and the Suns were actually. Why do the Suns have 22 fouls? Why do they go to the line 32 times, and why are the Suns putting them there and still, unless they're behind, and those fouls sometimes are are late in games or in situations where they're in the final 2 minutes, they're giving away a foul, et cetera, et cetera. My explanation of this would be that the Suns played better defense. In truth, they were more aggressive, they were more assertive, and this is in a situation where I wouldn't call 11 fouls a stupid aberration, because the officials have a tendency to swallow their whistles a little more in NBA in the postseason play. But that's a lot of free throw attempts in a playoff game.
Don't we want to know what happens next, though?
Yes. Well, no. Only if it's going to happen again. I only want to know what you think's going to happen next, if it's going to happen.
Here it is. Teams that have lost by 20 points having more free throw attempts than the opponent lost the game despite having more than 30 free throw attempts in the playoffs are 6-3 against the spread the next game.
Now, that's the team that shot the free throws, or the team that shot less free throws?
That's the team that had the more, 30 or more.
Well, we don't have to worry about them because they're not playing another game.
Yep, that's true. But that's valid for next playoff season, maybe.
Okay, then we'll remember that.
Hang on to that
We'll remember this.
Hang on to that one.
But what about the Bucks here? They lost by how much?
100.
Pretty good. They lost by...
100. Give me the same stats for them.
110 to 88. They lost 110 to 88 by 22.
So, all right, so they lost by 20. And how many free throws did they attempt?
Oh,
the free
you want to
throw
know?
advantage was only 19 to 13. Milwaukee shot 19. The Hawks shot 13.
All right, so I'm going to turn this around. Free throw attempts, less than 20, and they had the opponent. Atlanta only had 13.
Yeah. Made 11 of 13.
All right, so
Atlanta's got guys that haven't gone to the line all year. Bogdanovich doesn't go to the line. Kevin Herter doesn't go to the line.
No.
These guys don't go to the
They
free throw line.
don't take the ball. They don't put the ball on the floor and take it to the rim either.
Trey Young goes to the free throw line, but
Yes.
he's not playing.
this is looking forward. So really, it definitely says to take the Hawks. So you're 4-8 are the Bucks in this situation, not the Bucks, but any playoff team that shot 20 or fewer free throw attempts, yet had 5 or more free throw attempts than the opponent, lost by 20 or more, 4-8. So let's make it a double-digit loss. That's actually lost double digits as a favorite. But these guys here are 11-17, working against the Bucks. I wanted to see one other thing. This is what I like doing. I do it on the fly here. The chat room should start asking questions like this too. Free throw attempts less than 20, previous loss, and the Bucks were favored as an away favorite.
That number shot up to -9 by game time.
Yeah.
Well, now this turns it around. This is quite interesting. See, literally, this is what I always say. I can come up with a baker's dozen of trends to support both teams in any game in any sport. The question is, what's the value of them? What's the JR value, and the P value? That's what matters. But previous free throw attempts less than 20, coming off a road loss as a favorite of double digits. 14-7 straight up, 14-7 against the spread, 12-8 to the under, supporting the Bucks. But again, yes, these situations happen, and there's injuries on these teams in these 21 games. We don't know who was playing or who was not. But just like the market on Wall Street, Apple can have a product that's not selling real well, but the price right now is factoring everything we know, looking 6 months out. That's the presumption. So it's fair to say in sports that 14-7 record was based on a closing market price based on everything we knew right up to that tip. So that included injuries and included, whoever the referees were. I don't know what else to say. It includes everything we knew right up to the tip.
Well, listen, I know this. I was doing some work on the total, and I don't want to get off track too far on what you're talking about, John, but if we're talking about this game tonight, for instance, the total right now in this game of 215.5, is it still right there? Is that about what it is? I haven't looked.
It is. Yep, I'm staring right at it.
You know that in Milwaukee games this year, that number, total points, Milwaukee games is 69 of their games have gone over that 215.5, which is almost 80% of the time.
And you're talking about the Bucks.
I am. Yep.
And total, because you know that for the season, regular season, going into last night, 80 and 40 with 4 pushes, if I recall right, for 68% betting blindly 215 and lower.
Yeah.
So to your point, this is 215.5, and that's important. And last night was less than 215, I believe, at the close, and it went way over.
Yes, it did.
So in the playoffs, it's now 9-4-1 to the under. Games that were 215, including 215 and lower. So let's see what greater than 215 is.
Let me just I threw Milwaukee out there. If you throw Atlanta out there, that number 215.5 in Atlanta's 88 games so far, over 60, almost 62% have exceeded that number.
All right, so here, total of more than 215. So it does not include 215, 215.5 and higher for the 2020 season, including the playoffs. The best team was the Pacers, 46, 24, and 2 to the over, followed by the Bucks. I actually have them at 46, 37, and 4 for 55%.
Yeah.
Nets, 44, 38. Suns, 43 and 28. Wow, it's a list of playoff teams. Nuggets, Jazz, Wizards, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Clippers, Trailblazers. Then it goes below 500.
Okay, so what's the implied total? The implied total for the Bucks tonight would be 109. Is that right? About 109? Is that correct?
What's the spread?
They're 3.
3. So that's
right,
close,
so
right?
215.
Yeah.
That'd be 107.5 plus 1.5. That'd be 109.
Okay. So
109 to 106.
Right, 109 is implied total. And Milwaukee has scored more than 109 points 68 times this year.
And
don't
you want to
I
know?
think. Listen, how about the 11 games with? How about the 11 games? In the 11 games without Giannis, and Rob knows the numbers on these games because he had them, but they were 6 and 5 straight up in those games without Giannis, without the Greek.
Yeah, 8 of those games,
Okay.
Tone, 11 times without Giannis. 8
Right.
times out of the 11, they scored 108 or more.
There you go.
So I mean,
So here's my
The
deal.
Bucks are.
Well, here
All right.
I don't know if you like the total. You like the total tonight? I think you should like the over. If you don't want to do that, then I think the probability under the current scenario and situation and conditions is that you play Milwaukee over the 109.
team total.
Listen to this.
Listen, go ahead.
The
John.
Magic. I know they're
The
not
Magic.
in the
Hold on.
playoffs.
The Magic.
The Orlando Magic were 26 and 0 over when they scored 109 or more points.
Mm-hmm.
And then
they're-
the Bucks were very good too in their own right. I'm just seeing where they are here. 68% is what is pulling up on the database here, but it's just for the season. Yeah, so that's why I always use the 112 on those queries for the NBA tip-off show, because that was the league average. So league average is important. And if you're a team that's averaging more than the league average to begin with, and you're projected to score more than that, or you think they will score more than that, it's valuable. And team, when the Bucks score 112 or more, they are 43-17 for 72% to the over.
Mm-hmm.
And then they, they're a dog. No, they're favored. They're favored. So I'm going to do
more important than all this data that you shot, and it's very important data. But to me, and I don't know how the audience that's viewing this or I mean, you see, it's how it applies to more important than the data stuff. Why I need to, before I push money across the counter, I just can't throw a dart. I can't do it. I can't advise anyone to do it. And I need to know. I need to have reasons to believe why, substantial, and to some degree data-based reasons. But more important than data-based is trip handicapping for me. And in this situation, I think it's a given. I think it's an absolute given that if Atlanta can hit their perimeter shots tonight, they're going to get plenty, because I think this Bucks team is going to sag defensively all night. They're going to make Atlanta shoot. I mean, without the Greek, that's what they're going to do. Am I wrong? You think they're going to be aggressive on the perimeter?
You're right.
It's crazy, Tony. I thought about that same thing. Exactly what you're talking about. I thought of before. And I've pushed across already on this game. I mean,
okay.
People can probably tell where I lean because you and I just did that NBA tip-off show, and we're probably giving it away. But I asked myself, if I'm Atlanta, do I still build that picket fence across the paint, the Giannis fence, let's call it, if Giannis isn't involved? Do you need it? Do you build it? Do you do it to stop Middleton? I don't know. But I know one thing. They probably won't play a lot of zone, because I feel like with Bogdanovich, with Herter, with all these guys, they can shoot them out of zone. And, even better to your point, because you were just talking about, the data is the data. Let's come up with some fundamental reasons why this game should go over. And to me, the numbers that you pointed out, how many times Milwaukee has scored over 109, it's insurmountable, right? It was like 69 times or something crazy out of 88 games. When Milwaukee does what Milwaukee does best, which we know they were the number 1 or number 2 tempo team, pace rating team in basketball all season long. Washington may have been higher. When they do what they're supposed to do, they're going to score their points, Giannis or no Giannis. And we have the 11 games without Giannis to prove it. They've got plenty of scoring ability. The one thing that worried me a little bit was, it's not just Giannis, it's DiVincenzo too. But they've been without DiVincenzo long enough now that didn't bother me enough to say no to this particular game. And the other side is Atlanta doesn't want to come down and play against set-up defense. The other side is still bigger. With Brook Lopez, with Bobby Portis, with P.J. Tucker, they're still bigger and more physical. Middleton and Holiday are bigger guards than what Atlanta has. So, to me, you're going to play tempo game.
When Middleton had that game where he scored 20 in the fourth quarter,
yeah,
it just doesn't see. This is where, again, I'm gonna repeat myself, and I'm going to continue to repeat myself until someone either hits me in the mouth and breaks a couple teeth, so I have to have my wire, breaks my jaw, and I have to have a wire. It will be the second time in my life, by the way, I've had to have my jaw wired shut. I'm sure the first time was a pleasure to many of my friends and family, but I got a lot of milkshakes. My point is this, and that is, I have to not. He would never be. He when he was going off like that. You got to know that in my lifetime, when NBA was not video NBA, Middleton took a hard forearm to the back of the head, the front of the head, the jaw. At some point in time, when he was just absolutely could not miss, you changed something. So, people say, well, we got to play different defense. You got to get up tight. No, you knocked the shit out of him once. And if he continues on that path after having the shit knocked out of him, then so be it. At the end of the game, we applaud him. But that's the way I'm changing a man's mojo, or at least a man's rhythm.
Well, if you're Atlanta,
Yeah.
And you're going to have somebody, I mean, from the guard position, they don't have anybody that's going to do that to him. Trae Young's not going to hit him like that.
No.
It hurt it. But
No, I'm not. You don't. It would never be a frontline player, and it would be one of the thugs off the bench that is there to basically be a body in the middle and draw a couple fouls late in the game or during a critical situation where they want to foul someone, but yet they don't want it to be a Trae Young or a Middleton or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, my point only being that they have only so many guys that have that type of physicality where you can hit him with authority. John Collins could probably hit him with authority and make him think about it twice. But they don't have a long list of those guys, Atlanta.
No, you're right. Well,
Cam Reddish receives a lot of accolades last game, right? Because Cam Reddish was up in, he's 6'6" and long, and he shut Middleton down. I've seen this out of Middleton too many times, where disappear, and you think, he's Chris Middleton, and then reappear the next game and chuck in 20 in the fourth. I don't know that Cam Reddish is going to bother this guy tonight. I don't know that Atlanta's going to bother this guy tonight. I really don't. I get what you're saying. In the 90s, the 80s, somebody would have taken it upon themselves to make sure this guy knows you're not getting away with 20 in the fourth quarter against me. And I think that when we see these games, and we'll see it tonight on TNT, Barkley and Shaquille point that out all the time. Too soft, playoff fouls, where are you? Atlanta doesn't have a long list of those guys. Gallinari's not a physical guy. Who's going to hit this guy? Capella, maybe. Go hit him.
Yeah, but foul out.
I used to be an advocate. I mean, I used to have guys tell me all the time, I don't like basketball. I don't like NBA basketball. I like contact sports. And I used to always tell them, I'd say, if you don't think NBA basketball is not a contact sport, then you haven't watched the NBA. Like I've grew up on NBA. And, it was a contact sport. There's a reason why the old adage was, hey, no blood, no foul. There was a reason that adage, because it's a contact sport.
Yeah, and last night, all you had to do was watch last night, Tone. How many shots to the head and face did DeAndre Ayton take? Beverly wound up and slammed him on the head, even though he's like, I got all ball. Yeah, you got the whole ball. You got his whole head with it.
That's after John. Hey, Ron, did you love that, though? It's all ball. He said that for like 10 minutes straight, for the next 5 plays. However, after the play, he was the same guy walking down the middle of the court with a smile on his face, raising his hand. Yeah, foul's on me.
He knew.
Well, of course he knew.
He got him good.
He's insane. He's a crazy man.
And
I like the foul. I liked what Pat. That's what you're supposed to do. I didn't think it was any flagrant foul. I know the rules say, listen, any contact the head, or if it's not a basketball play, that's a damn basketball play. Okay, that's a football play in basketball that we desperately need to return.
And I think that series, real quick, because Devin Booker got his nose broken. You had physicality in that series. The Clippers Phoenix. So for people who say it's not physical, that you could watch that series and see it was pretty. Both of those coaches like it that way.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I think. Listen, I think. Even I don't think to a crazy degree or anything, but I think Kawhi and I think George, both of those guys have no problem with physical play. I mean, listen, George got hit a couple times. Really, he got hit pretty good on some drives. You didn't see him whining. He got up.
Through it.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. You didn't see him whining and listen. The Joker is something's got to change on that Denver team because I've never seen a team whine and cry so much. It's distracting from the game. It takes away from. They don't run back and play defense when they feel like they get fouled. Poor me. F you.
No, it's not F you. They're missing the cheese part. They don't have the cheese part. It's a wine and cheese, Tony.
Yeah, well.
Then they would be complete whiners.
It is despicable.
So Yogi Berra told me one time. But seriously, this flagrant 1, flagrant 2 crap, and then the subjectivity behind it. And I'm not saying this to be funny, but I actually think soccer does a pretty good job at it. And I'm a novice soccer watcher now. I'm kind of addicted to it. I watch periods of time. But you're not taking me seriously, though. I mean, what if they were forced to say, okay, yellow card, red card?
Well,
Right
what do you
away.
mean?
Right away.
They are. Essentially, they are.
Yeah, but I mean, actually show it instead of like conversing and, a
Well,
soccer guy has to show it and then they review it. And
Well, they
sometimes
still-
it gets
they do it
changed,
here.
sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. But they do that. I mean, essentially, there's a foul called. They never call a flagrant. They don't call flagrant without it being reviewed. That's part of the rules. Isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah,
You're
they have
right.
to review it. They have to
You're right. In the
mean-
beginning when they did it, though, it
Right.
was called right away, and then they changed that rule. So I stand corrected. You're right. So the cards would do nothing.
And you know
No,
what I learned last night, guys?
It'd be entertaining.
I didn't realize that because they did this on one of those review plays. I didn't realize that when they go to review, they have the choice between not only flagrant 1 and flagrant 2, but they have the choice between giving a technical or a flagrant 1. One
You know what
came
else
up
they
as
have?
only a technical. It didn't even
You
come
know what
up
else
as a
they have?
flagrant one.
They also have the option to say, "Hey, we're wrong. That's not even a foul."
Yep.
And when they replay it, yep. But it is funny, like you guys are saying, that you get a lot of. I mean, Jeff Van Gundy's been a head coach, right? Mark Jackson has been a head coach and a player.
For a minute,
And then
yeah.
you get Steve Javy, the ex-referee.
Horrible
and
referee.
Nobody can agree. You listen to their opinions, and they're all different. Now, I know that Van Gundy and Jackson sometimes just take opposite sides for the sake of taking opposite sides. I get
Yeah.
it. But it really, you can't get people to agree on what's a flagrant and what's not. It really is, like you're saying, Tony, it's discretionary. I mean,
Well, and here's the problem. There's two criteria that they tell the officials. Hey, listen. First, here it is. At 3, truthfully, it wasn't necessary. Was it a basketball play? And was a contact? Did it go to above the shoulders? That if it fits those 3 criteria, it's flagrant no matter what. But what's subjective is, was it a basketball play? You see, what's your definition of a basketball play?
well,
Because
Pat
my
Beverly-
definition is there's a football play on a basketball court.
Pat Beverly got away with a common foul. He wound up. Yes, he got the ball, but he waxed the guy on top of the head.
That's
I mean,
right.
I guess you can. You know what? In prior years, that was a basketball play. Just make some move at the ball, and it's a basketball play. Even
and in
though
truth,
you wind up and catch his head and everything else.
Yeah, and you're right, Rob. And in truth, this is the deal. If I'm being the stupid, arrogant putz that I am, if I'm Patrick Beverly, and they don't call a flagrant on me, then that makes me look bad. I couldn't even get a flagrant. I couldn't move
true.
Aiden's head more than that. That means I'm a soft bitch. So it better be flagrant.
So I'll do it again until they get me to the flagrant. I'll keep doing it. Yeah. It is kind of crazy when you watch it at night. You just don't know what they're going to come out of the booth off those headsets with. You really don't know.
So before we go to our round of final bets,
Okay.
I want you to
I don't
know
have
that
money left.
I was just told that while we were on the air the last 20 minutes, we were in a tornado warning, and I was brave enough to stay here.
I called
host.
Toto. Called Dorothy. Said, Dorothy, Toto, we're on the
Yeah.
show. Could you redirect that, please?
Protect.
Well,
John.
here in Pennsylvania, Tony, you know, people here that have never been in the Midwest do not even know what a thunderstorm is, let alone a tornado.
How could they not? How could you? Man, thunderstorms are like
We rarely even get a F0 to touch ground.
they're one of the wonders of the world. To sit through. And I'm not talking about tornadoes. I'm talking about a good thunderstorm where it cleanses the air and the ground, and you sit there and you watch. Listen, you can watch lightning. It looks like it's, and this being only having 3 TV channels, and when we're having a thunderstorm, chances are we didn't have any TV. We didn't have any electricity. You'd sit there, you'd watch, lightning would strike, and you'd count. How many miles away is it? 1,000, 1,000.
That's right.
And there goes the thunder. And that was the game we played as kids.
Right.
That was television. That was entertainment, baby.
What other kids know that today?
I still missed it. I still miss
That's
those.
so true, though.
Here in
That's
Vegas,
what
we don't
we
have
used to do.
thunderstorms.
That'll be
we
my
don't have
pinned
thunderstorms.
tweet tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you count 1001, 1002, 1003 after you've seen the bolt. How many miles away is the lightning?
Yeah.
I mean, should you be concerned?
Well, you should always be concerned about lightning. I've told you the story about the time I was we were going to finish this round no matter what. Well, we got the 17 hole, and I'm putting, and the lightning was a long ways. I felt it through the putter, through my body. I felt that I don't know how to describe it, but it's a little joy. It wasn't so serious that but it was. It raised the hairs on the back of my head.
Well,
I said, "That's it, brother. That's enough."
I don't mess around with it. And it doesn't have. People think too. It has to be raining for lightning to strike. It's not true.
No. Nope. No, it doesn't. The sun. Listen, the sun can be shining where you're at, and you can be struck by lightning.
Right.
That's right.
And that there's a difference between thunderstorm lightning and heat lightning.
That's
Yes,
right.
there is.
And there's also, people don't know, yeah, you're right. That's absolutely right, that lightning can come up through the ground. It doesn't have to come, well, it starts, obviously, it originates in the sky, but lightning it can strike quite a ways away from you, and maybe it's just the electricity, but you know that I got struck by lightning twice in the same spot kind of thing. It's just funny. It is. I don't even really care what the science is to light. You could care less because I like it.
I had that feeling on a blue sky the first day I shot 68 on a golf course. Mm-hmm. I had that feeling of the lightning coming up through my shoes and
felt good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would have felt the same way. I would have been saying to myself,
I do it enough.
Wow, what happened? How am I going to shoot on the second 9? 68 is pretty damn good.
Well, I was learning at the time, 68 that time was good for 9 holes.
That's right. It is,
Yeah.
especially during the late 70s, early 80s when it was a requirement when you were playing golf was to be drunk, powdered, and quaalude up. I mean, that was part of the deal. You didn't get on the course until you were messed up like that. 68, I win.
Yeah, somebody must have told Carmine because he's putting together this team that's going to compete out at Vegas against another WagerTalk team.
I don't know what it is. What is it?
And it's him, some guy named Nick Borman, and myself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and what are you going to be in Vegas?
Not that I know of, but I guess this.
Well, then how are you going to perform? What are you going to do virtually?
Well, I have to wait to find out what the tournament is. I have to talk to my agent to see if I can.
Is it a golf
get off
tournament?
The shows.
What, they played soccer? Carmine,
Yeah,
Nick Borman.
maybe it's not golf. But Carmine was on the show in the puck time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had to be listening to it, and all of a sudden I hear my
I think
name
I can
on a hockey show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
If it's a hockey player, if it's a hockey player, if it's Carmine, I still think I could probably. I'll go to my neighbors and get the left-handed clubs. He's left-handed. I'll get the left-handed clubs. Play Carmine.
I am going to be playing with Nick sometime soon, though.
Huh.
Like before August 1,
I thought Carmine was going to be on the show today.
And not today because he is traveling. He's actually going out to Vegas today, I think.
Is that today? I haven't, it's funny. He hasn't reached out to me. Usually he calls me to pick him up. He has not called me to pick him up. I wonder if he's mad at me or something.
Oh.
I'll have to ask him.
He's probably in a plane. He can't call you from there.
You can
when
too.
he lands, he'll call you.
You can call from you can call from planes nowadays. As long as you're flying something newer than the Wright brothers plane, you can call from a plane.
God, love those guys, Wilbur and Orville.
I love to fly. In fact, we have one of the patterns into Newark International is about 12,000, 17,000 feet above our house. And you can get those apps called Flight Aware, and then there's Flight Radar. It'll tell you what jet it is, what airline it is, how fast it's going, the descent, the whole 9 yards. And I find that fun. But you'll never in this world get me on a prop plane ever again.
Really?
Nope. Not getting on a prop plane. I'm afraid the rubber bands are gonna break. And you know what that means. Then the propellers don't turn, the plane doesn't stay in the sky.
Well, it does. It does.
Well, for a little bit.
It does. It depends on your pilot.
You ever been in a helicopter?
Have I ever been in one?
Yes.
Lots of times. Yeah, I just never been on one up in the air. I've been inside a helicopter.
Really?
Never had.
I'll tell you what, there was 3 times when I lived in Manhattan, flew from the South Street seaport there. I could walk to it. And it was supposed to be like the cool way to get to Newark International and get a flight to Chicago. A little too turbulent. Like way too turbulent. And I figured, all right, well, the first time was bad luck. You're all over the place. And I don't find that comforting. I don't mind turbulence in a jet, but it is what it is. So, a little bit off the rails there. I'm glad to see you guys taking notes, though. Oh, I know what I wanted to talk about is
I just
compliment
texted
from
Carm.
Max on
I just
record.
texted Carm is what I did. I said John told me to text you and tell you he'd pick you up at the airport because he's here in Vegas. Let's see what he says.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the chat room stuff here, and I appreciate Max on record here. He's the guy that calls DeChambeau Meathead.
Yeah.
And did you guys hear that Meathead's caddy quit?
Because?
It's like a marriage. They need a separation for a while.
Oh.
It's like Lucas
So,
Giolito and Josh Donaldson. They need a separation.
I've never had anyone carry my clubs for me. Ever. In my life.
I've had it probably less than 20 times, and it's pretty cool, actually. I mean, it's a walk. You don't have to worry about your back.
What?
You say,
If
give
you
me
have
the
to worry
6
about
iron.
your back, you shouldn't be playing golf.
Caddy says, well, you better hit the 5 iron. I said, give me the 6 iron. You're going to be short if you hit the 6 iron. Take the 5 iron. You always listen to the caddy. That's why it's a marriage.
I don't know how to do that because I've never done that. I've never had a caddy. Never. And I've played a lot of golf in my life. Now, I haven't played much in the last 20 years, but a lot of golf in my life.
If you play at Sawgrass, well, you can never make that happen. You got to
Played
take a caddy
Pebble
whether
Beach
you like
many
it or not.
times. No, I haven't played. I've played Pebble Beach many times. I'll have to say that's probably the most notorious course I've ever played.
Well, that's a famous one for sure.
Yeah.
But in my my golf here segment, Davis Thompson is on top of the leaderboard shooting a fine 63 round. Wow. 9 under. We're at the Detroit Golf Club, by the way.
Detroit.
Yeah. And
well, I would call Mrs. Ford. Say,
yeah.
Mrs. Ford, how much is it going to cost me to win this tournament? She'd say, well,
it's hosted by Rocket Mortgage. And Rocket Mortgage actually does really good fundraisers during the event.
I think Major League Baseball own Rocket Mortgage.
One of the owners probably does. But they are doing a nice thing. Apparently, kids under the age of 21, they're talking college kids, high school kids, only 20% of them have cell phones. And they're doing a fundraiser to try to increase that number.
Why?
Up to 90% over the next 5 years.
Why? Man,
well,
I will pay somebody to take myself. I would pay to live in this cell phone age.
You don't get a debate from me, but they do good fundraisers for the community. So it's a good. Rocket Mortgage does a lot for the community of Detroit year in and year out. But it is a course that DeChambeau was the champion last year. He shot 23 under. It's probably going to be 20 or more, probably closer to 25. My pick's Jason Day. He's tied for 6th right now, -5. But the one I said on the show yesterday, which was highlighted by our chat room buddy, I mean, you got to love this name, Maverick McNeely. I mean, it sounds like a hockey player. Sounds like a billionaire. It's a cool name. Well, he started out -4, and what did I have him at yesterday, Rob? Do you remember off the top of your head? I think it was 80-1.
Yeah, I don't remember the.
Yeah, he's not going to be 80-1 anymore, but we'll see how he does tomorrow. But he's right there, tied for 14th. So, and DeChambeau's on the course. They had some weather issues out there. Like we're having here on the East Coast. But I don't see his name. Because I know Meathead, our chat room buddy, calls him Meathead. We got to find out why he calls him Meathead. Probably because his caddy quit.
Hey, you guys. Hey, listen. I want to apologize, but I think we're about ready to do the final. I have
Yeah.
I do.
That was
have
my
to.
plan.
I do have to do this one thing I really don't want to do, but I will live up to my commitment. You know.
That a boy, Tone.
Thank you.
Go ahead, start us off. Give us a hot one.
Yep.
Who, me? Well, Well, let me ask you this: do you guys want NBA, or do you want? Would you prefer to have something other than NBA?
Whatever you want to do.
I'm gonna do the same thing I did for the NBA tip-off show. Then, okay?
Okay.
Bogdanovich or Bogdog is healthy again. The bum knee that crippled or limited him. There was a stretch of 6 straight games where he did not score double figures in points. The truth is, at this point in time, if this game plays out as I see it to play out, which would be not just both these defenses, I think, are going to sag. I think we're going to have a high-scoring game. I like the over in this game as well. I didn't play that necessarily. I didn't release it yet. I hadn't made a decision, but I like Bogdog over 15.5 points. That's the prop on him. 15.5 points. Let's put it this way. I think that he could have 15 points in the first half. So I know that's 5 for. You're not going to see him go to the rim much with the ball, and I don't think you're going to see much of Atlanta going to the rim other than their bigs and other than if Young plays. I mean, he's in the starting. By the way, the lineup, the projections that I have and the people I trust on lineups, they're projecting that Young is going to start tonight. So, just so you know, they're not telling me how many minutes. So that's really what I want to know. I want to know how many minutes.
Well, as soon as that becomes public, Tone, you know that total's gone from 215 to 218.
That's correct.
So
that's just, again, this is much like the other day when I told you that this isn't set in stone, or cast in titanium. It's not definitive, but much like the guy I knew that I told you was from Chicago, my buddy from Chicago, he was spot on. He knew that he says this injury would probably limit most people. If it wasn't a playoff game, he didn't think that Young would play at all anymore. That's what he said. I didn't share with you. So that said, it is a playoff game.
right.
So here we are.
Well,
And they are allowed to numb it up, right?
Well, you can do whatever you want in the NBA.
Yeah.
You can like I said, you can cut it open and sprinkle Pablo all over that if you wanted to. Numb it up any way you want to. It's just a matter of what can you do? What are you capable of doing numbed up? Are you like me? Do you think you drive better? Do you think you think better? Do you think you run faster? Do you think you can leap tall building in a single bound? What are you actually capable of doing? That's probably more important.
Yeah.
All I was saying is if it's in the arch, which we speculated yesterday, you can numb up just the arch and he still has the toes.
Yeah.
If you numb up the big toe,
Of course, then
you're a
and
stumbling fool.
if I was a gambling man and the doctor numbing him up, I would say, I think I just missed the arch, and I think your whole foot is gone numb.
Well,
yeah. Damn it. Only if some butts were candy and nuts, huh?
I guess it can't be centralized.
Yeah.
So you're doing Bogdanovich over 15.5 and what
Bog
was the
dog.
juice?
The
Bog
bog dog over 15.5.
Got it. I have it written down.
All right.
Mr. Veno, you are
Yes, sir.
next.
Well, we were good yesterday, right? The props were good. Jay Crowder, yes. DeAndre Ayton, points, rebounds, assists over 29.5. Came right back with it. Yes, he did the job last night. I'll give you the two I used on WagerTalk today. The second one I used on NBA Tip-Off as well. So people that have been following WagerTalk TV all day and not watching this show probably have heard this before. But the first one is Chris Middleton to record a double-double plus $1. pretty simple here, guys. Half of this equation is figured to be easy. Chris Middleton scoring 10 points seems to be the very easy part of that, since he's probably going to put up more shots than anybody in this game. You need rebounds or assists. Listen, his rebound totals the last 3 games have been very close to 10, if not better than 10. He's had 7, 8, and 11 in his last 3 games, and those 3 all had Giannis on the floor. Tonight he's going to be asked to pick up a couple extra rebounds without Giannis on the floor. So getting to 10, which he's done 3 times in the last 6 games, doesn't seem like a lot to me. If you don't get the rebounds, you could possibly get the assists. He's been good with the assists lately. 5, 7, and 8. 7 and 8 came in 2 of the last 3 games, so certainly those are close to 10. If Drew Holiday is expected to score a little more, maybe Middleton gets a couple more assists. Of course, assists count on guys making shots, so we need the Bucks to score some points tonight, make some shots. But I think Chris Middleton double-double plus $1 is well worth the shot. And then the second prop I'll give you here, John, is Kevin Huerter. Tony had Bogdanovich over 15.5. I'm going to give you Kevin Huerter over 13.5. And I would not talk anybody off of playing Kevin Huerter over 17.5, either points rebounds, points assists. I think they're both the same at 17.5. I think if you combine all 3, it's 21.5. But I choose to go with points. We went with points the other night. They were 12.5. He went over. He got 15 points shooting 1 of 7 from three-point land. So that's a pretty good number to me. Kevin Huerter, by the way, as far as the Atlanta Hawks are concerned in this series, has taken the second most field goal attempts of anybody on the team. The only one who's put up more shots than Kevin Huerter has been Trae Young. 48 shots is equal to 12 per game. And in this game, you figure he'll put up at least 12 again. He's getting the minutes. What you want, if you're going to play a player prop over and a double-digit over, you need shot volume. You have to know that your guy's going to shoot the ball. Pretty sure Kevin Huerter is. He's put up 25 threes during this series, so give me Kevin Huerter over 13.5 points. He's kind of the forgotten man. I'll say this about Bogdanovich. He makes 6 threes last game. In my estimation, it probably alerts Milwaukee somewhat to him. Hey, listen, we got to go get Bogdanovich. He lit us up for 6 threes. He shot 14 of them. So Kevin Huerter's kind of that guy that floats around that nobody really takes seriously on the defensive end. And he gets a little bit better matchup when they go man-to-man in this game because Giannis is out. Kevin Huerter plays the small forward spot. And generally speaking, through the first 4 games of this series, it had been a lot of P.J. Tucker on him defensively. And when not P.J. Tucker, it could have been Portis, it could have been Giannis, it could have been any number of 4. But without Giannis now, it becomes Pat Connaughton, which I think is a little better matchup for Kevin Huerter. If this game is played pace and space the way I think it's going to be, Kevin Huerter will have a lot of spot-up threes anyway. So give me Kevin Huerter over 13.5 points. Give me the Chris Middleton prop, double-double plus $1. And with Huerter, guys, I think it's only minus a nickel. 13.5 minus 5 cents. I don't want to exceed your minus 10-cent rule, John.
I appreciate that, Rob. One question here I thought was interesting here. Veno, can my Aztecs get long back? I have no faith in Hoke. Thoughts?
Listen, Paco Healy, first of all, shout out to him because the college football shows that we do, myself and Drew and Ralph Michaels, and then the Every Game on the Board show, Paco's constantly there in the chat room. So hi to Paco. Real quick, he seems to be pretty set where he is coordinating that defense for the Lobos of New Mexico. He and Danny Gonzalez, second year, trying to put things together for New Mexico. So I don't know that they can. I don't blame you for not having any hope in Brady Hoke. I could certainly get behind you on that, Paco, but I don't know that they're getting Rocky Long back. He seems, from what I've read so far, pretty intent on trying to establish some type of defense within New Mexico Lobos. Certainly that's a project in itself for sure.
Yeah, great answer, Rob. And that is a good follower. Very good follower. So my turn now. And I'm going to do player props. I seem to be rolling pretty good with them. As a group, we're rolling pretty good with them, too. And looking at my sheet here, I love the Huerter, 13.5, Rob. I had already written down Herder 21.5, PRA at minus 110. So that'll be one of mine. But I'm also on Herder 13.5 with you. And I like Holiday tonight. Now these are reaches, but we're playing with pizza money, right? So Holiday triple double, 9-1, and I think that is better realistic than 9-1 because of the setup of this whole game and the people that are missing. And I just if anybody's gonna have a monster game tonight, I think the odds favor him. And I'm taking Drew Holiday 3-pointers over 2.5 plus 125. And I agree with the Middleton double-double is a no-brainer at even money. And the Bogdanovich by Tony I'm with too. There's not one that I'm even iffy on.
Yeah, the 9-1 on Holiday is a nice price because you could get a triple-double in some form of 17, 11, and 12 or something like that out of him. And he's going to be asked to step up a little bit without Giannis. There's no question. His numbers have to go up if Milwaukee's going to win.
Well, I guess we have everything done, Tony.
All right, I gotta go. Thank you for having me. See you tomorrow.
All right, Mr. Finn.
So for Rob Veno, Tony Finn, who's practicing being centered on the screen as well as his life, the Predictive Playbook, WagerTalk.com, and sportsmemo.com. May all the wins be yours tonight.